So, Trevor, thank you for coming down this morning. We've got the Stacey West Stand behind you. How do you feel knowing that the club remains committed to kind of the legacy of that fateful day, and also with the name up there, Stacey?
Well, obviously, because we know both of them, my dad, and of course Jim, were very big friends. So, from our Stacey point of view, we'd be absolutely gutted if it wasn't to remain as it is, and perhaps even one day be improved. But the main thing is that I do bring people sometimes over that relations and that, I show them the plaque on the wall which describes what happened. And it was a very sad day, but it's 37 years ago now, and I think we've all got to learn to live with it. But it was a very sad time at that particular moment.
Yeah, absolutely, and that stand and seeing those names up there really is a key part of your family.
Well, yes, it is, because people say to me sometimes, "I've passed a football ground. Your name's there." What does that mean? Because it's 37 years ago. Lots of fans weren't even born then, were they?
The last few years, you've seen the club's plans for developing the stand, in particular the community space behind that. How pleased is it to see that development of plans going forward despite the past couple of years?
Well, I do think that's very important, because most people, including me, have heard of it, but don't really know what it really stands for, and don't know really where you can go to find out. But if you're going to have a permanent base there, people can then come and go when they want to. Just for instance, people now know that they can go to the club shop and buy what they want, but do they know really where they can go to get the foundation? If there's a proper building there now, of course they can, because people will then be able to have an identity, which I think is very important, particularly for Lincoln City fans. We need an identity all the time with the club, and the more the club grows, the better it will get.
With the community work increasing over the past few years and going forward, how special does it feel seeing your name up there, the family name up there, right at the heart of that community work?
It's everything. It means everything, because people, I still say to people when they come, I say, my dad's stand, and they, what you mean your dad's stand? Because most people don't know who I am, of course. And most fans, I don't think, realise what my dad did for the club. I think a lot of people just think that Jim and my dad were just fans, but of course, without my dad, there wouldn't be Chris Ashton, because Chris was subsidiary to my dad at the time, and we organised all the trips and everything. And so that, from that point of view, my dad wore his heart on his sleeve all the time, and it was a wonderful time for me. We really enjoyed it. But I say, it was a great shame when it happened, but that's life.
And the club really is built on a foundation of volunteers like your dad, like Jim, like Chris Ashton, you mentioned again, that just make it feel even more special to see that community work being the focus of the new development.
Absolutely. I do think that there has to be an idea that there just isn't a board of directors, and there isn't just people who run the club. There are people behind the scenes who perhaps do even a lot more at times, because they're voluntary and they just love the football club. And I think that's what I would suggest, that most small division clubs like ours, without the support of the fans, don't think they'll be able to survive. I do think that without that support from people like my dad and now the other people that's been in the background, you wouldn't be able to do as you do, because fundraising is important, and I'm sure that there's a lot that goes on. If all the fans from the lower division clubs could win the lottery, I'm sure they'll be out putting hands in the pocket, because they love the football club. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? And I just think that if I was lucky enough to win a big amount, I'd put some in straight away. I'm only a poor little supporter, really, but I'll come every home game as much as I can. But I'm getting a bit long in the tooth now, so I don't know how much longer I can do it. But while I can, I'll keep coming, because I love the football club like everybody else does, and they always have done. I'm not going to say I don't moan sometimes, but we all do.
You've been coming to games since I think the 1940s. We were talking earlier.
1948 was the first game.
Just talk to maybe your first memories of coming down to games.
Well, the first memories of coming down to the games were coming through the entrance there at the back of you, when this was just clinker. There was no concrete, nothing. It was just clinker, and we all came together and we just stood together, and we always stood together with some of the away fans. And in those days, you could stand together and have a banter, and there were about 20, 30 of us stood on the halfway line there, and we'd just have a banter all the time, and there was never any animosity. You know, if we lost, we lost. If we won, we won. Then we went away friends again. But, you know, as I say, I think that's the first thing you remember when you come together. Then when the ground improved a bit, and we had the bar at the back of the West Stand there now, we used to go in there and have a pint before the game, and then we'd all come together, about 20 of us, and just sing our hearts out. And because we could stand, it was different. There was a different comradeship when you're standing than there is when you're sitting. I mean, I couldn't understand why, when I was a young boy, why people wanted to stand, wanted to sit down. I know now, but I mean, the younger generation don't want to sit, they want to stand and be able to jump about far more easily than they can when you sat down. And I think if you can do it with the safe standing, it'd be great.
So, basically, you must be really pleased to see that the rail standing pilot been included in Stacey West Stand development.
I do. I think it's great. I mean, providing it's done sensibly, and that the club, the players, that the fans get together and can just enjoy it. But I'm sure that they will enjoy the experience far more stood up, like I said earlier, than you would sit down. And I can see that. But, you know, as I say, it's got to be done in a way where there is no animosity between people, and I'm sure it'll work very well. And I'm all for it. I just think that if we can be one of the primary starters, so much better. I think that we as Lincoln City adore the club, and the more we can promote it, the better it'll be.